everyone, and welcome to a new video where we are going to learn a lot of interesting facts about many different species of dinosaurs. Also, in today's video, we are going to use a new book, the Book of Amazing Dinosaurs. We are going to randomly open one of its pages to see which surprise dinosaur we get to learn about today. Look, it's a type of long-necked dinosaur. At the top, we see the scientific name Ankylosaurus. It tells us that it lived during the Cretaceous period, more than 73 million years ago. It could reach about 15 meters in length and approximately 3 meters in height. Obviously, it was a herbivorous dinosaur that fed on plants at ground level or even on the leaves at the top of the trees. I find it curious because it even looks like an armored dinosaur. Its skin is very thick and the entire upper part is covered with large spikes. Impressive! Well, now let's open our box to see all the dinosaurs we have inside. Let's learn in a playful way, through all the figures. And look, there are a lot of different species. Let's take them all out to learn their names and their characteristics. Let's see which is the first dinosaur to come out. Well, it looks like we have another dinosaur. As you can see, the figures are quite small, but I like them because they seem to be good quality and they come with different textures and shades. This time it's a Diplodocus. The Diplodocus also had a long, whip-like tail that it used as a defense mechanism. Therefore, if a super predator came to attack, it would start whipping its tail very quickly and violently in order to defend itself. But as you can see, it has a long neck and a very small head compared to the rest of its body. It could reach about 22 meters in length. It was a giant among giants. It fed on plants, leaves, and grass. And it also had 4 large legs. Its hind legs were bigger and stronger than the front ones, since it needed a lot of strength in the back to swing its tail very fast. It lived on planet Earth during the Jurassic period, more than 200 million years ago. And let's continue with another one. Let's see. It looks like we have a super predator. At the bottom, we see the name of the dinosaur. I love that because if we ever have any doubts, we can check it. It tells us that it's a Halosaurus. As you can see, it was a bipedal dinosaur that walked on its hind legs. Unlike the great Tyrannosaurus rex, the Halosaurus had 3 claws on each of its front legs, and its jaw was also full of teeth. In this figure, we can't really see it very well, but the Halosaurus, when it reached adulthood, had 2 small bumps or crests on top of each of its eyes. We can even see its nostrils. As you can see, it was a bipedal dinosaur and had a long tail that it used for balance. Another one! Over here, let's continue with the next one. This is a dinosaur with a crown-shaped skull from the Triceratops family, although we can see some differences, especially in its head. For now, I already love the colors they have. I find it very colorful. At the bottom, it tells us that this is a Styracosaurus. The Styracosaurus was generally smaller than the big one, Triceratops, but as the main difference, we see that instead of 3 horns, it had a large horn on the top of its nose. Also, all around the outer part of its skull, in a crown shape, we see large spikes. For example, the Triceratops had smaller spikes, while the Styracosaurus had gigantic spikes that were smaller on the inside and got bigger, reaching their greatest height in the upper central part. Impressive. Another one over here. Let's see which one we get now. Let's see. We have another great carnivore. This time it's a Velociraptor. Velociraptors were much smaller carnivores than, for example, the great T-Rex. However, they were able to catch large prey because they hunted in groups or packs. Something very characteristic of the Velociraptor is its long front legs. They were able to catch their prey. They even used them to grab the meat and bring it to their mouths. This way, it was easier for them to eat. It also had a unique feature, which were the claws on its hind legs, as you can see, super large and hook-shaped. The Velociraptor could run at high speed because it had a rather slim and lean body. Also, it used its long tail to change direction while running. Is it one of your favorite carnivores? Its jaw wasn't too big, not large, but it did have very sharp teeth. Let's continue with another one. We have another dinosaur, one of the long-necked ones. We can see some differences compared to the big dinosaur. The Velociraptor is millimeters tall, and the other one is millimeters tall. As you can see, the shape of its neck is different. It's oriented in a more vertical way. It also differs from other velociraptors and long-necked dinosaurs. In the shape of its head, it has a small crest or bump on the top. Another interesting detail is that its front legs are bigger and taller than the back ones to be able to support the weight of this long neck. Well, we've already met two long-necked dinosaurs. Both have long necks, but the shape of their bodies is very different. Let's stop here and see what else comes up, and take a look at this. It looks like a dinosaur, but it's actually not. This animal is a carnivore, and it's called Dimetrodon. In fact, it lived on planet Earth long before the dinosaurs. It's an animal that lived on planet Earth during the Permian period, which means it's a prehistoric animal. The Dimetrodon is characterized by having a large crest of spines on the top of its body, which could reach up to 2 meters in height. As you can see, its body is very similar to that of modern lizards, but this one was gigantic in size. It loved being both in the water and on land, and it was obviously a carnivore. Look at this big jaw. Its teeth were very strong and robust, so it could chew meat very well. It also had a long tail, so here we have this great prehistoric animal. Let's continue with a different one. And we had very small figures, but look at what is coming out now from inside our box. It's a gigantic dinosaur, and it could only be the great Tyrannosaurus rex. The figure is large. It comes in different shades, and it's made of hard plastic. The only thing we can actually move is the jaw, which is articulated. We can see its sharp teeth, but if we open the mouth, we can even see the detail of its tongue and the upper part of its palate. The head of the great Tyrannosaurus rex could reach more than 1.5 meters in length, and its teeth could measure about 20 centimeters. The jaw was made up of a total of 60 sharp teeth. In the book, we have more information about the T-Rex. It tells us that it could reach about 13 meters in length and measure about 6 meters in height. It could even weigh up to 10 tons impressive. It fed on other dinosaurs, reptiles, but also on carrion, that is, on other dead animals it found. Its name means tyrant lizard, and it tells us that it was very intelligent.
Since we've already seen our great Tyrannosaurus rex.
As you're hearing, at the bottom there's a button to hear its great roar.
Impresionante.
Impressive. Well, let's set it aside because we still have a few small figures left. Look, I'm going to take them all out. We have 3 in total: an armored dinosaur, a dinosaur with a crown-shaped skull. And let's start by talking about this one here, since it's one of my favorite herbivores. Its name is Parasaurolophus, and the most distinctive thing about it is the horn it had on the back of its head. This horn was used to communicate with the rest of the herd. It made sounds very similar to those of a trombone, so if a super predator came to hunt them, they would start making sounds and warn the rest of the group so they could escape in time. Also, in the picture we see it walking on all fours, that is, using its 4 legs. However, since its hind legs were quite sturdy, it could also walk putting all its weight on the back. in a bipedal way. It lived on planet Earth during the Cretaceous period. Let's continue with the great Triceratops. We've also seen a similar specimen before called Styracosaurus. Here, we can appreciate the differences between the two. As I was saying, the Triceratops is larger. However, its main differences are found in its head. The Triceratops had 2 large horns above its eyes. And, in addition, the spikes that went around its large frill, shaped like a crown, were small, while in the Styracosaurus, it had large spikes. Well, these are the main differences. Finally, we have an armored dinosaur. As you can see, it is very similar to the great Ankylosaurus. However, we also see some differences. At the bottom, we see the scientific name. As you can see, the main difference with the great Ankylosaurus is that this dinosaur does not have spikes on the top, but instead they are concentrated on the sides, in a row. It also comes with a ball or club at the tip to defend itself from predators by swinging its tail from side to side, trying to protect itself. As you know, the Ankylosaurus also had an armored head with several spikes. Here in this figure, I do see a spike on each side, although not as big as those of the great Ankylosaurus. Its skin, at the same time, is also very thick and robust, to prevent large carnivores from sinking their sharp teeth into it. And now, we've finished today's video. Here are the dinosaurs we've learned about. Honestly, I really liked these figures, especially because we had one big figure and lots of little ones. If you enjoyed this video and want to know more about dinosaurs, you can help me by giving me a super like. And I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. And now it's time for me to say goodbye to you all. See you in the next video with more amazing dinosaurs. Goodbye. Subscribe to the... Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video where we are going to keep learning interesting information about my favorite animals, the dinosaurs. For that, as always, we are going to use this encyclopedia. It comes with a lot of interesting information about different types of dinosaurs. For example, here we have a dinosaur, one of those with a long neck, and at the top we see the scientific name. On the dino card, it specifies that this particular dinosaur could measure approximately 15 meters long and about 3 meters tall, and weigh almost 10 tons. As you can see, its mouth isn't very big. That already tells us it was a herbivorous dinosaur, which fed on plants. Let's close our encyclopedia to discover all the dinosaurs that are inside the box. For now, here we are looking at a flying reptile. And let's see. Look, we have several large figures and many small ones. Let's take them all out to learn their names and some of their characteristics. Let's see which one comes out first. What do you think if we start by taking out some of the smaller figures first? This time we have the great Ankylosaurus, a herbivorous dinosaur. It was also called the armored dinosaur, since the upper part of its body was very thick and tough. And it was also covered with large spikes, both on the top and on the sides. This was its way of defending itself. It also had spikes on its head, especially on the sides. Another way it defended itself was with its powerful defensive tail swing. Also, the figure, although it's very small, has an articulated tail as well. We can move it from right to left. It had a large ball or club at the tip of its tail, and this way, it would swing it very hard and fast to defend itself. It was also a quadrupedal dinosaur, walking on all 4 legs, and it was also called the armadillo of the Cretaceous. These figures, although they are very small, I like them a lot because we can appreciate all the details and see more clearly what those details of the dinosaurs were like. We'll leave the first one here and continue with a different one. What do you think if we take a look at a super predator next? One of the greatest predators that has ever existed? It's the great Giganotosaurus. The figure is different from the previous one. This one, as you can see, is made of a more flexible plastic. Therefore, even though it doesn't have articulated legs, it does allow us to move them from right to left and up and down. Just like its tail, what does come articulated is its large jaw. We can see the detail of its teeth. The Giganotosaurus had an impressive jaw. It was on par with the great Tyrannosaurus rex. Its front legs were much smaller than its back legs, and, as you can see, each one had 3 fingers. Along the entire dorsal part of its body, we could see a small crest of spikes or spines that ran all the way down its back to the tip of its tail. Another big carnivore here. We're still taking out the small figures, and now we have another big herbivore. This one is very famous. It lived on planet Earth during the Jurassic period, more than 155 million years ago. Let's take a closer look at all the details. Because the most characteristic feature of the Stegosaurus were the large bony plates it had all along its back, which, as you can see, were divided into 2 big rows. These plates helped protect it from the bites of large carnivores. Also, it could defend itself like the Ankylosaurus. It had 4 large spikes at the tip of its tail that it would swing from side to side to defend itself. For this reason, its hind legs were larger and more robust, since it needed to have a lot of strength in the back part of its body. Let's see how it takes down Giganotosaurus.
Wow. We'll leave it here.
What I like most about these figures is that we can create a lot of different stories. We just have to let our imagination fly. Here we have another herbivorous dinosaur, and this time it's characterized by the shape of its head. As you can see, it's as if it were wearing a helmet, and it was also protected with large spikes on the back. This herbivorous dinosaur was called Pachycephalosaurus. Several fossil remains of this dinosaur have been found, which has allowed us to see what its skull was like. Also, it was bipedal, and if you look closely, its neck area is articulated. That allows us to move it both from right to left and from up to down. I love it. What do you think if we put all the herbivorous dinosaurs on one side and all the carnivorous ones on the other side? And shall we continue with another one? Look, over here I see 2 more herbivores. Let's create a real Jurassic World. These 2 figures are exactly the same. It looks like it's the great Diplodocus, a giant among giants. It was known for having this super long neck. Nowadays, the only animal we have with such a long neck is the giraffe. And look, I like it because it also has an articulated neck. It's really cool because we can lower it as if it were eating leaves from the ground, but we can also raise it so it can eat the leaves from the treetops. Something very characteristic of the Diplodocus is that it had a very long tail with a thin tip, which it used like a whip. Well, now we have 2 more herbivores. What do you think? If we look for more information about the Diplodocus in the Great Encyclopedia of Dinosaurs, in the center we can see a really cool illustration with several Diplodocus. Here we have a mother with her calf, much smaller in size. It tells us that its name means double beam. It could reach approximately 26 meters in length from its mouth to the end of its long tail. Additionally, another detail is that it had larger and more robust hind legs than its front legs. In this way, it could swing its tail with great force and defend itself from some carnivores that tried to attack. We already have a lot of herbivores here and the only carnivore we've gotten so far. What do you think if we now take out the biggest figures from the box? The next dinosaur is very famous. I'm sure all of you will recognize it right away. This is Blue, a fictional dinosaur that appears in the Jurassic World movies. As you can see, it's a genetic mix with a Velociraptor. It's a very intelligent dinosaur, which is even able to interact with humans, although, as I mentioned, this is just a fictional dinosaur. But the truth is that I really like the figure. I love it because it's super big. And as you can see, it comes with a button on the top. If we move it forward and backward, as you can see, it has special movements. It can rotate its entire front part of the body from right to left, while also moving its jaw at the same time. Its hind legs are also articulated, just like the front ones. I really like that. Another cool detail about this figure is that it comes with crystal effect eyes. And if we move it from right to left, as you can see, it looks like its eyes are moving, although it's actually just an optical illusion. We can also see the detail of its tongue and palate. I really love this figure, honestly. So now we already have one of the big figures, but we still have a few more. We have another herbivorous dinosaur. It's the great Stegosaurus. We've already seen it in a small figure. Look, this is the mini figure we saw earlier, which, as you know, also wagged its tail from side to side. But this one is much more impressive. It can move its head from right to left. Its eyes are much smaller, but look at this detail. Didn't I mention before that some herbivores have a strong beak at the tip of their mouth, which they use to dig in the ground in search of food? We can appreciate all the details of its skin here, as well as its vibrant colors. It comes with a tail that's jointed in many places, so let's turn the button to see how it moves its tail to defend itself from predators. Super cool! Another one over here. What do you think? If we leave it in the back, on the herbivore side, we still have one dinosaur left to see.
It's another one of the big ones. Oops, and we also have two of the little ones over here.
Let's look at the two remaining little ones, which are also carnivores. On one hand, we have the great Tyrannosaurus rex. It's one of the greatest predators that has ever existed. The figure is super cool. As you can see, it has a metallic effect, so it shines a lot. It also comes with this detail in a darker color. On the top part, it can open and close its jaw. The T-Rex's jaw was made up of a total of 60 sharp teeth, and its front legs were very tiny. Secondly, we have one of the first large carnivores that ever existed, called Dilophosaurus. It had crests on the top of its head, and these crests were different depending on whether they were male or female. It can move its head up and down. And now we have the last one left to see. It comes stomping in. Its footsteps are really heavy. And here we have the great Indominus Rex. This figure is also of a fictional dinosaur, and it's famous for appearing in the movies. Unlike Blue, which comes with a blue stripe, the Indominus Rex is completely black, with a yellow stripe that really stands out. As you can see, its ferocity is impressive. It's a very fast dinosaur, and above all, very intelligent. Can we open and close the jaw? Its eye comes in an orange tone. See? All these teeth were very big and sharp. Also, it has a different texture depending on the area of its body. Its claws were very strong and big, with 4 fingers that could grab any prey and never let it escape. It also had, just like the Velociraptor, one of its claws shaped like a hook. Its hind legs were very big, and it also had a long tail. This time, with the figure, we can move it up and down. But what I like the most is that it comes with another magic button. If we press it, look. It uses its front claws very quickly. It's one of its best attacks. Let's open the jaw to make it look even more terrifying. Subscribe. And now, friends, we've finished today's video. Let's put the great Indominus on the carnivore's side. And these are all the dinosaurs we've met today. If you liked this video, you can help me by giving me a super like, a thumbs up. And I invite you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. And now, I'll say goodbye to you all. See you in the next video with more amazing dinosaurs.
Adios!